Hello all, Shadwell here, ready to talk about the next film in my collection, Black Sunday from 1960. It's the first film in the Bava Box Volume 1, is directed by Mario Bava, and stars Barbara Steele and John Richardson. The film is most commonly referred to as Black Sunday, but it's also called The Mask of Satan. In fact, the opening titles during the film itself call it The Mask of Satan, although I will admit I've never heard it as being called that. Just Black Sunday, which is slightly confusing because a later Bava film is called Black Sabbath, which is very similar in title, so it seems The Mask of Satan should be the way to go, but fuck me, right? Regardless of what you know it by, you definitely should know it, and if you don't already, go watch it. It's the first official film from Italian director Mario Bava, as he had done a couple films before this, but this was the first time he had been credited as director. Mario Bava is one of what I call the big three in Italian horror, the other two being Lucio Fulci and Dario Argento, and we'll be talking at great lengths about the films of all three throughout our journey together, as I own just about all of them. But Mario Bava is special because I have two collections of his films called the Bava Boxes, Volume 1 and 2, which Black Sunday is the first film in Volume 1, so buckle up because we're about to talk about 13 of Bava's films in a row. Black Sunday is a film I like to split into two halves. The first half is great, moody, dark, and there is good attention to detail. The second half of the film is when things kinda get hectic and crazy and less good. It's about the struggle of a vampire witch to possess the life force and youth of the young woman who shares her likeness. The first half is mostly set up as we see the execution of the vampire witch and her servant, and then we fast forward 2 centuries as she is brought back to life through the actions of a couple of unwitting doctors on some stray blood. Vampire Witches is definitely a new one for me, but I see how the lore behind each the vampire half and the witch half are both being used effectively, so I don't mind that having the villains be vampire witches seems a little greedy as far as antagonists go. It's just too bad that the last half of the film gets a little wild and out of control, and it's all capped off by a happy ending that feels like it was added at the last minute and under duress by director Mario Bava, who has a perfectly fine ending before Happily Ever After screwed everything up. But even though I just shit on the last half of the film, it's still worth it, it's just not as good as the first half. Anyway, I'm going to give Black Sunday a B+ for being good, but not great. Tomorrow we watch the second film in the first volume of the Bava Box, the similar in title only film Black Sabbath. See y'all then.